Good morning and buenos dias. Welcome to Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Reverend Katie McQuage-Loukas, and my pronouns are she and hers. I would like to announce the garage sale totals, but I'm afraid I just have an estimate, not the final number, but I know it was 9,000 something. And a little bit later, we'll do a round of applause and whatnot for our volunteers. But I wanted to go ahead and jump right in with a number because I know we were all wondering. I would also like to take this moment to welcome our new pianist, Siu Yang. So a round of applause. And I am delighted to have you here and looking forward to many more Sundays together. Whoever you are, whomever you love, however you have arrived here today in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, whether you're joining us here in this room in person or joining us online, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. If this is your first time or your 500th time, you are welcome here. We're glad that you are here, and we are glad to be here together this morning. My call to worship this morning is from Reverend Amy Bowden Freeman. Once more, the earth has turned toward the light of the sun. As we are bathed in the light of a new day, so may we greet the dawning of fresh possibility. Once more, we awaken from slumber. As our bodies rise to meet the challenges and pleasures of living, so may our hearts and minds open with promise. Once more, we gather for worship. As we join our voices in word and song, so may this assembly bring forth wholeness. Come and let us worship together.
Ivar Larson will light our chalice for us this morning. To face the world's shadows, a chalice of light. To face the world's coldness, a chalice of warmth. To face the world's terrors, a chalice of courage. To face the world's turmoil, a chalice of peace. May its glow fill our spirits, our hearts, and our lives. Our opening song this morning is number 21, For the Beauty of the Earth. Stand as you're willing and able.
Oh,
wonderful with so many voices singing together. Very nice. Please join me in doing our covenant. The words should be on, yes. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship. Thus we covenant with one another. And Gus Dunn will help us with the Spanish.
Hola, buenos días. Buenos días. All right. El amor es la doctrina de esta iglesia. La búsqueda de la verdad es su sacramento y el servicio es su oración. Vivir en paz, en comunidad, buscar el conocimiento en libertad, servir a la comunidad en fraternidad. Así es como pactamos en nosotros. Thank you.
As many of you are no doubt aware, many in our political leadership are engaging in a battle of wits with the Pope, and they're not coming off that well. And as we move into our time of lighting candles, and as we think about our candle for peace, I thought it might be wise to touch on a central element of that conflict because it is a fundamentally religious element. The Pope has made several statements lately on the immorality of war and the need for peacemaking. On Wednesday, Speaker of the House Mike Johnson mentioned just war doctrine. J.D. Vance admonished the Pope for stepping into politics, and Hegseth is preaching war as if from a pulpit, offering violent prayers and speeches. Just war theory is the attempt of theology to parse out the complicated circumstances in which conflict might be necessary, just as our secular legal system distinguishes among different kinds of violence. The most obvious example is self-defense. The law sees that as a clear category in which violence might be necessary, and so do theologians when they think about war. But in law and in theology, there is always the understanding that violence is a failure of other options. It's not the primary option. There may be complex reasoning and theory around gray areas and unclear processes, but the underlying principle is always that violence is a social wrong, or that it is immoral. There are other traditions that speak of when war might be justified in other religious traditions and in philosophy, but my focus today is on the way our administration is using Christian theology in a particularly terrible way, terrible as in to cause terror, to spread fear, and to cause harm. Most people who go to war see their cause as righteous, but there is set criteria historically used to define this from the outside. Narratives of danger require serious and lasting harm and the collapse of other options. This is why, as misguided as it was, the 2003 invasion of Iraq came with allegations of weapons of mass destruction. The administration had to make a case for war. Yesterday, the Pope said, "The world is being ravaged by a handful of tyrants. Blessed are the peacemakers. Woe to those who manipulate religion in the name of God for their own military, economic, and political gain, dragging that which is sacred into darkness and filth." He was speaking in that moment to the people of Cameroon, a country that has been torn for nearly a decade by separatist violence. But he was also very intentionally speaking to us here in the United States. In that spirit, I light our candle for peace this morning, knowing that while we are not directly responsible for every bomb dropped We are responsible for reaching out and speaking out with moral clarity to our leaders and elected officials to say no, not in our name. We are responsible for changing our leadership and our politics and bringing into public life the spirit of the peacemaker. Let us take a moment to breathe and to reflect on peace and our own ability to commit to the work of peacemaking. May we remember always that another world is possible. Our red candle of community reminds us that we are part of a greater whole, part of an ecosystem here in this building, but radiating outward from it in space and going before and behind it in time. Today, I want to honor the garage sale crew especially. For those of you who may have missed it or are new here, we did not have power for most of the week. And those folks were in the dark, without air conditioning, sorting and tagging and prepping and getting that garage sale ready to go. And I cannot speak highly enough of the resilience and mutual support that came out of this. So if you were on the crew, this is for you. And while there is some overlap in the persons helping, I would also like to especially thank our building and grounds team who were out here all day, every day, trying to get our power back up and running, and sometimes even spending the night here. Dedication, resilience, and strength. So, applause for that too. There's a lot of invisible work that makes church happen, and so I wanted to make some of that visible to you this morning. And now, we gather to light candles of our own. We all walk into this space with our own individual cares and concerns. We all arrive here every Sunday with our own hearts, our own worries and fears, and our joys. And we bring those things forward and we light a candle so that we can share in them together, so that we can bear witness to one another, and so that we can remember that we are not alone in whatever is happening in our lives. Bring all those things forward with you today. Come forward now as you are moved to light a candle. And if you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand. Come forward as you are moved. I have a prayer of storytelling this morning for us, and it's from Mandy McLean. So please, will you join with me in prayer? Spirit of life and love, Holy One of our being and our becoming, that which is sacred within, among, and beyond us. We know so many stories about you. God, Lord, King, Father, Earth Mother, Great Spirit, Universe, Holy Parent, Divine Love, deepest longings, covenanted partner. We know stories about our country and its founding too, of the values we claim as a people. We have stories about these narratives, about how our values have and have not manifested in our reality. Blessed One, we also know so many stories about ourselves, some of them the same stories we tell about others. Beautiful, ugly, simple, difficult, joyous, useful, worthless. Stories about who we are, what we know, and the potentials and impossibilities of our future. Stories about our purpose and the meaning of our lives. We have countless stories buried too deep in our souls for us to even recognize them. God of discovery, help us to find the strength to excavate those buried stories. Let us lean on one another as we brush them off, hold them up to the light, and find their meaning and use. May our roots nourish us so that we might grow abundantly and flower into blessings for one another and the world. And above all, Holy Parent, sing us a gentle lullaby. In the trees and the wind, in the kind words of our neighbors, in the warmth of the sun and the sparkle of snow, whisper to us the truest story you know. Sing it to us in notes we can never unhear. Remind us every day, every moment, that we are beloved, beloved, beloved. Amen, and may it be so. Our prayer and song this morning is number 123, Spirit of Life. Please remain seated for it.
Thank you. My name is Gloria Miller. I am the Director of Religious Education here at Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. Our Time for All Ages today is an essay that is an excerpt from Robert Fulghum's All I Really Need to Know, I Learned in Kindergarten. Robert Fulghum is Minister Emeritus at Edmonds First Unitarian Universalist Church in Washington State. So it's kind of neat to be reading an essay from a Unitarian Universalist minister. Giants, wizards, and dwarves was the game to play. Being left in charge of about 80 children, 7 to 10 years old, while their parents were off doing parenty things, I mustered my troops in the church social hall and I explained the game. It's a large-scale version of rock, paper, and scissors. It involves some intellectual decision-making. But the real purpose of the game is to make a lot of noise and run around chasing people until nobody knows which side you're on or who won. Organizing a room full of wired-up grade schoolers into 2 teams, explaining the rudiments of the game, and then achieving consensus on group identity, all this is no mean accomplishment. But we did it with a right goodwill and we were ready to go. The excitement of the chase had reached a critical mass and I yelled out, "Now you have to decide, which are you, a giant, a wizard, or a dwarf?" While the groups huddled in frenzied, whispered consultation, a tug came at my pants leg. A small child stands there looking up and asks in a small, concerned voice, "Where do the mermaids stand?" Where do the mermaids stand? A long pause, a very long pause. "Where do the mermaids stand?" I asked. "Yes, you see, I am a mermaid." "Oh, there's no such things as mermaids." "Oh, yes, I am one." She did not relate to being a giant, a wizard, or a dwarf. She knew her category, mermaid, and was not about to leave the game and go over and stand against the wall where a loser would stand. She intended to participate wherever mermaids fit into the scheme of things. And so without giving up dignity or identity, she took it for granted that there was a place for mermaids and that I would know just where. Well, where do the mermaids stand? All the mermaids, all those who are different, who do not fit the norm and who do not accept the available boxes and pigeonholes. Answer that question, and you can build a school, a nation, or a world. What was my answer at the moment? Well, every once in a while, I say the right thing. "The mermaid stands right here by the king of the sea," I said. Yes, right here by the king's fool, I thought to myself. So we stood there hand in hand, reviewing the troops of the wizards and the giants and the dwarfs as they roiled around in wild disarray. It's not true, by the way, that mermaids do not exist. I know at least one, personally. I've held her hand.
We have a responsive reading this morning from the back of the Gray Hymnal, number 603. Number 603, Beyond Words. Please join in with me on the italicized text. Existence is beyond the power of words to define. Terms may be used, but are none of them absolute. In the beginning of heaven and earth there were no words. Words come out of the womb of matter. And whether we dispassionately see to the core of life or passionately see the surface, the core and the surface are essentially the same. Words making them seem different only to express appearance. If name be needed, wonder names them both. From wonder into wonder, existence opens.
Morning. I'm Brad. This is Travis. Our pronouns are he and him, right, Travis?
That's correct.
Probably my fault, but it didn't get into the program what the song is, or that Travis was helping me out. I'm famous for changing my mind about what song I'm going to sing, so I'm sure that's my fault. We'd like to sing you a song this morning. It's called "Find Your People" by a guy named Drew Holcomb. And it's a song about, it's kind of light and upbeat, with some funny rhymes, but it's about a super important topic, though, that can make your life happier and make your life longer. And that's no fairy tale. If you've ever read The Blue Zones, one of the things it talks about in terms of communities where people tend to live much longer lives than in other places, one of those things is a sense of community. And it also said they eat a lot of beans, but we're not going to sing about that today. Like I said, it's called "Find Your People" by Drew Holcomb. It's about how much we need each other, and he wrote this song during the pandemic when he was finding people losing contact with others around them. So partly so you don't miss these lyrics in the muddle of however I sing them. Over and over it says, you got to find your people, the ones that make you feel whole, that won't leave your side when you lose control, the ones that don't let you lose your soul. You got to find your people, the ones that make you feel equal, that pick you up and won't put you down, help you find your way in the lost and found. In a world of strangers, you don't know who to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find what you lost. You can't go it alone. Everybody needs help. You got to find your people, then you'll find yourself. And here's where we find out if our guitars stayed in tune.
All right.
Gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel alright, the kind you like to laugh with late at night. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel whole, won't leave your side when you lose control, the ones that don't let you lose your soul. Find your people, the ones that get the joke, who understand what you're saying for a word is spoke. You gotta find your people that put the needle in the groove. When you're together, got nothing to prove. When you're together, got nothing to lose. In a world full of strangers, you don't know who to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find what you lost. You can't go it alone. Everybody needs help. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself. You gotta find your people that'll call your bluff. Right along when the road is rough. You gotta find your people, the ones that make you feel equal. They pick you up and won't put you down, help you find your way in the lost and found. In a world of strangers, you don't know who to trust. All you see is danger, trying to find what you lost. Can't go it alone. Everybody needs help. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself. The ones that understand you, the ones that lend a hand to you, the ones that don't demand anything from you. You got to find your people, the ones that make you feel alright, that tell you the truth and wish you well. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself. You gotta find your people, then you find yourself.
I have a reading written by G.K. Chesterton from his book called All Things Considered. Fairy Tales excerpt. Some solemn and superficial people, thank you, thanks, for nearly all very superficial or solemn, have declared that the fairy tales are immoral. They base this upon some accidental circumstances or regrettable incidents in the war between giants and boys, some cases in which the latter indulged in unsympathetic deceptions or even in practical jokes. The objection, however, is not only false, but very much the reverse of the facts. The fairy tales are at root not only moral in the sense of being innocent, but moral in the sense of being didactic, moral in the sense of being moralizing. It is all very well to talk of the freedom of fairyland, but there was precious little freedom in fairyland by the best official accounts. If you really read the fairy tales, you will observe that one idea runs from one end of them to the other. The idea that peace and happiness can only exist on some condition. This idea, which is the core of ethics, is the core of the nursery tales. The whole happiness of fairyland hangs upon a thread, upon one thread. Cinderella may have a dress woven on supernatural looms and blazing with unearthly brilliance, but she must be back when the clock strikes 12. The king may invite fairies to the christening, but he must invite all the fairies, or frightful results will follow. Bluebeard's wife may open all doors but one. This great idea, then, is the backbone of all folklore. The idea that all happiness hangs on one thin veto. All positive joy depends on one negative. Now, it is obvious that there are many philosophical and religious ideas akin to or symbolized by this, but it is not with them I wish to deal here. It is surely obvious that all ethics ought to be taught to this fairy tale tune, that if one does the thing forbidden, one imperils all the things provided. This is the profound morality of fairy tales, which, so far from being lawless, go to the root of all law. Instead of finding, like common books of ethics, a rationalistic basis for each commandment, they find the great mystical basis for all commandments. We are in this fairyland on sufferance. It is not for us to quarrel with the conditions under which we enjoy this wild vision of the world. The vetoes are indeed extraordinary, but then so are the concessions. Not only can these fairy tales be enjoyed because they are moral, but morality can be enjoyed because it puts us in fairyland, in a world at once of wonder and of war. G.K. Chesterton.
There's a pin on the floor, and I'm actually more worried that I'm gonna go down. Because I'm a klutz. So let's put all things that might have me go whoop and just tuck them away. Before I begin today, I did want to ask if any of my young and young at heart folks have a favorite fairy tale, and if they would like to tell me what it is. Hansel and Gretel. Why is that? Why is Hansel and Gretel your favorite? Because it's got a witch. Okay, that's fair. Yeah. Sonia. The Little Mermaid. Why do you love that one? Because the moral of the story is to be true to yourself. Anyone else? Yes, Audra. The Three Little Pigs, and why?
Because it's very fun to tell to children.
Because it's fun to tell to children. Yes, yes it is. You get to huff and puff. Yeah. What about other kinds of stories, other kinds of fiction? I personally am a big fan of mystery novels, particularly the classic British ones from the Golden Age. And that's because I think it's one of the most purely justice-focused. Wrong will be righted one way or another, and I appreciate that. It speaks to my sense of tidy conclusions. Anybody else? The Little Red Hen, yeah. If you don't help, you might not get the outcome you want. That is true. I saw another hand. Travis.
It's not a fairy tale, but Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. You know, it operates in fairy tale logic, I think. I think that's fair. Why is it?
It's adjacent, I think.
Yeah. Is there a particular reason why that one in particular?
Well, there's a quote that says it to me, even the smallest person can change the course of the world.
Even the smallest person can change the course. Yes. I love the books and the films. Like I read Lord of the Rings like once a year. It's like my winter nesting instinct or something. I don't know. Peter.
I like Peter and the Wolf.
And why do you love Peter and the Wolf?
That's kind of the story of my relationship with my grandfather.
Seeing your relationship with your grandfather in that story, yeah. Joss.
Anything that echoes the stone soup, where you start with nothing, but community coming together provides for everybody.
Anything along the lines of Stone Soup, where you start with nothing, but community comes together and creates something for everyone, enough for everyone usually. Human beings are storytelling Oh, I've got another hand. I can't tell you no.
Green Eggs and Ham by Dr. Seuss.
Green Eggs and Ham?
Because it teaches tolerance.
It teaches tolerance. Terry.
Ray Bradbury's.
Ray Bradbury's books. Is there one in particular and a particular reason?
Something within this way comes, or something where it allows you to see the world as fantastical.
Being allowed to see the world is fantastical. I keep cutting people off because I'm trying to hear. I'm so sorry. And Jace. I can't hear you. The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. I am not familiar with that one. Can you tell me why you love it?
It's about a rabbit who's lost. His journey to be found and get back home.
A journey home again for a lost rabbit. Returning home again is always a good theme, finding your way home. And now I really am going to move on to a little bit of a message. Okay, I've got one more. I can't stop.
I like Mulan because it says in a rigid society you can still challenge your place.
Mulan, because it's a rigid society, but she still challenges her place and finds it, yes. So we are storytelling creatures. That is just part of what it means to be a human being. Because what it means to be human is to make meaning of our lives, to make meaning of our circumstances, of our environments. As Unitarian Universalists, we engage in a lot of different kinds of meaning making. But all human beings are doing this all the time, and that is perhaps the core of all faith and religion. We look at our lives and we say, what does this mean? And from that question, we craft narratives, and those narratives tell us who we are, who we have been, and who we might yet become. As a dry recitation of facts, the events of a person's life are just that, a series of events, disconnected. This happened, then this happened. But when we organize those events into a narrative arc, because of this happened, and that caused this, now we have a story. And when we choose how to craft that story, we are making meaning out of the events of our lives. And most of the time, we don't have to think really hard about this. It comes very naturally. A lot of it happens regardless of our intention or planning. The birth of a child demands a change in meaning. A person has now become a parent or a sibling or a grandparent, and the meaning of that life changes. And we can accept the stories of others about what it means to be a parent or a sibling, or we can make our own, but either way, we're going to seek out meaning and be changed by this process. We notice the big stories. We tend to be aware of the stories of history and nation, the stories of religion, and the stories of science. A lot of our political conflict comes from competing stories about those big topics, so we tend to notice them. And we tend to notice when those stories are being crafted and used. And we're usually aware of the smaller stories that affect us personally, stories about families and relationships, how we met, when we met, the stories of grandparents, when people move from place to place, that tell us who we are. Who moved to Texas when is a big family story around here. These stories shape who we are, and they keep doing that as our understanding of those stories change. When we learn a new perspective on history, the way we understand ourselves in the world changes. But of course, there's the category of stories we separate out, and we say, oh, these are just for fun, or just for children. And we don't often think about how those stories really do shape who we are. We say once upon a time as a signal that this story isn't real, that it happens in storyland, in fairyland, instead of in reality. We mark those stories as not true. But folklore and fairy tales, children's books and films don't have to be literally true to have meaning. In fact, it's often possible to make more meaning out of fables and fairy tales because you can name things and make connections in Never Never Land that you can't always quite make in the ordinary world. And so the important question to ask about any story is not, is this a true story? We need to ask, what about this story is true? Or what about the story do we want or need to be true? The downfall of the wicked and the rise of the virtuous, we want this to be true. And so we tell stories about evil kings and gentle princesses and wise animals and terrifying dragons. And we understand the world in this mythic, cosmic way, containing vast possibility. Most of the folktales and fairy stories from earlier eras are quite horrifying. They are violent, they are bloody, there's death, and we don't usually see those in the Disney versions. The Victorians especially wanted their fairies to be pretty and their children to be innocent, and they didn't want to tell their children the scary stories. And this is a mistake because terrible things are real, even if maybe ogres are not. In a different essay about fairy tales, G.K. Chesterton wrote, "Fairy tales are not responsible for producing fear or any of the shapes of fear. Fairy tales don't give the child the idea of the evil or the ugly that's in the child already because the child is in the world. The baby has known the dragon ever since he had an imagination. What the fairy tale provides for him is a St. George to kill the dragon." And for all that fairy tales seem so often to be about princesses, again, I think we can thank Disney for that, but there's also the kind goose girl, the brave son of the miller, and there are sheep herders and farming folk and people from all walks of life. And an important thing that our stories do for us is remind us that anyone can be heroic, even if we don't get to claim the label of hero. History is like this too. We tell exciting stories about individual people. But at its bones, real history is ordinary people living their lives as best they can and still managing to change the world in the process. We remember the great leaders of the civil rights movement, but that movement was accomplished by many, many ordinary people. Revolutions are led by larger-than-life figures, but they're accomplished by ordinary people. And telling stories about ordinary people reminds us that we can all be heroic or virtuous or ingenious or any of the things we need to be, that we all have those capacities. Part of the work of authoritarianism is restraining and constraining the kinds of stories that we tell. Obviously, book banning, tearing down and putting up monuments, also redefining social studies curricula and controlling the press. All of this works to limit our imaginations and to limit our senses of what is possible. But once upon a time reminds us that our imaginations are unbound. We are not limited in the stories we can tell or how we tell them, especially when we're not quite telling themselves in public discourse like the press. The stories we tell each other are ours, and we can continue to tell them. As you learned and grew, how did your favorite stories contribute to that? What did you learn about how to be a person from the stories you received or read as a child? And what stories do you want to tell now so that coming generations can access them and the wisdom contained in them? It is important to remember that the revolutionaries are always in the company of poets and dreamers. And as we face a changing world, we need to carry our poetry and our dreams forward to help us shape it anew. May it be so, and amen. We are sharing the plate this week with Family Promise of Clear Creek. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them if you don't know. There are nationwide affiliates. Our own is Family Promise of Clear Creek, and they help families who are working to help themselves. It's a community-based response to family homelessness. Family Promise partners with faith organizations and schools and businesses, and they develop programs to help empower families to find stability and achieve independence. More than 78% of the families that pass through go on to stable housing, which if you've ever worked in that field, you know that's a tremendous success rate. They do eviction prevention to try to prevent someone from ever losing their housing. They provide an array of community services, food pantries, community centers, clothing closets, transportation programs, anything a family might need to hold on to a job or to work their way out of a bad situation, Family Promise will attempt to provide. The Galveston Daily News had a really great write-up of them this week that had interviews with people who work there and people who volunteer there talking about their experiences. And one thing the executive director said stuck in my mind. Over the past 3 years, the number of families they serve has increased tenfold. Their current vision includes a building that would allow them to more directly provide temporary housing. Right now, people stay in churches. There's a couple of different churches in the area with the facilities to house, and people rotate through, and they would like to have a building of their own. They would also like to expand their eviction prevention program, aiming to serve up to 150 families annually. So they are trying to increase their donor base and their revenue considerably. So once a month, we choose an organization and share half of our plate with them. And this month, we are sharing with Family Promise. Please give as generously as you are able. Anything in the plate not otherwise marked as particular donations, half of it will go to Family Promise.
Thank you for that, John. Join me in blessing our offering. This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world. And now on to announcements. The mission of the Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church is to change lives and heal our world. There are many ways to join in this mission and work to build the beloved community. As always, there is more information available on all these opportunities in the Tuesday email, your order of service insert, and the newsletter. So check out all those places for more details. Today at BAUUC, following the service is our next Discover BAUUC session. For newcomers, a conversation with our Director of Lifespan Religious Education, Gloria Miller. She's ready to talk about faith formation for children, youth, and adults. So stop by the library after you grab your coffee and get to know our education and fellowship programs from that angle. Also today is the Family Fellowship Potluck. It's a good opportunity for parents to have deep conversation while the children and youth play. There's always room for one more, so please do come, even if you didn't plan to, or if you didn't bring a dish. The more, the merrier. And if you'd rather just go out to lunch with some friendly folks, this Sunday's lunch meetup is at DeMossi's Mediterranean Buffet. The Community Garden Workday has been moved to Saturday the 25th at 9 a.m. Thinking about growing some food of your own or simply something beautiful? Want to get out in the sunshine and build community with gardeners of all ages and types? Come help out at the community garden, which is right out there. Bring a water bottle and a snack to share. If you'd like your own plot, you can submit an application, and the link for that is in the weekly e-news. On Friday, May 8th, there is a local senior citizens trip to Galveston. The itinerary includes the Bryan Museum, lunch at Shrimp and Stuff, and will then go to the Rosenberg Library.
March 26th has already passed. The correct date and time is May the 8th at
10 a.m., not p.m. So that's May 8th at 10 a.m. Spots are limited, so RSVP with a QR code on the slide and in the order of service. Come have an adventure with us, and they're fun. I've been on several of those. Just, let's see, just the slide for email sign up, Terry. There are always opportunities to connect at BAUUC, far more that can fit in our announcements. To stay connected by email, you can sign up on our website or in the guest book just outside the sanctuary. It has information like the locations for our various lunch get-togethers throughout the week and information on our regular programs like Buddhist meditation and yoga. This Wednesday evening offers team trivia at 7 p.m. after dinner and vespers. Women's Spirituality Group meets Thursday the 23rd at 10 a.m. Other upcoming events include PFLAG and our Gay Straight Alliance on Sunday, April 26th at 2 p.m. Please join us for coffee and conversation immediately following this service in Cockrell Hall in the east wing of the building. It's down the hallway and past most of the classrooms. Sure. Yeah.
In looking at our order of service, I see that the hymn is the hymn I was going to do last week, which means that the planning document has a different hymn. So we're going to do whichever hymn has been practiced. Is it My Life Flows On, an Endless Song? Okay, so we're good for that one? Okay, great.
Okay.
Oh, but our slides are for Hail the Glorious Golden City. All right, so My Life Flows On, an Endless Song is the one we practiced, and that's the one we're going to do, and it's number 108 in the gray hymnal. And that's my fault for forgetting to change one of the hymns in the order of service.
from singing. What
So yeah, thematically, that will make more sense next week. Yeah, and we'll know it better. I might bring out Hail the Glorious Golden City just because I like that one. So maybe we'll just do some swapping, and it will be very confusing, but we'll all have fun, right? All right. My benediction for us today is from Ian Huntington Bear. You are the story of the world. You are the world coming to know itself. May you trust that all you will ever say or do belongs in the story of the world. Blessed be, amen, and go in peace.